Hello, everyone, and welcome into your daily card reading. And this is for Saturday, September 30th. So we're going to see what all messages are coming through from God, Spirit, the Divine. And we'll start off as usual with our three cards that are looking at the overall energy of the collective, and then we'll break it out into sign groups. So if you haven't checked it out yet, yesterday all of the videos posted for the individual zodiac signs for the first half of October. So make sure to check those out. And there's a bunch of new videos coming up in the next week as well. So make sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when those happen. Well, last night was the big Aries super full moon. So hopefully you guys had a chance to see that. It started out nice and kind of an orangish color with this great aura around it. And then as it was rising up in the sky, it was kind of lightening up a little bit, but it was a beautiful view from where I was sitting, and I hope you had a chance to take a look at it as well, and maybe even put your crystals out for some cleansing. But let's take a look at what all we have coming in general for the collective today. All right, we've got the Hermit, Temperance in reverse, and Nine of Wands. I feel like this Nine of Wands has been coming out a bunch lately. So here we go with our Nine of Wands energy. And this is about this persistence and like making a stand. And we also have this coupled with the Hermit energy. So that is that sense of going into that like deep reflection and inner wisdom and just kind of seeing, seeing where you need to rebalance. The Temperance card, this is about imbalances and excess. So you've kind of had this going on. You've had this imbalance, but you're making a stand. You're trying to combat that type of energy. And so you've kind of gone into this period of self-reflection and figuring out, how do I bring balance to it? How do I get this back into alignment? So that's kind of the overall energy. And especially on the heels of the full moon, that's kind of the time to release the things that are no longer serving us and end cycles. So the full moon is about kind of ending some of those lessons or karmic cycles or soul contracts, things like that. And especially with it being a super moon. One of the things too, with it being in Aries, North Node moved into Aries, and that's about kind of being your true authentic self. So there's some of that kind of strong energy attached to the super moon as well. All right, let's dive in honor of it being a full moon in Aries last night. We will start with our fire signs and see what all messages are coming through for you for today. All right, the Fool. So this is that card about taking that leap of faith, the new beginnings and having trust and faith in the divine that they have your back and you're starting out on a new path, new adventure. So we've got that energy coming in. Let's take a look at our moon card and see what comes up for you. A new start is coming. All right. So if getting the Fool card wasn't enough, we also have this one that says new moon, a new start is coming. So, so you do have that new start, and part of that is being triggered by the fact that you've been in this energy where you've had these imbalances, where you've had these imbalances and excess, and things aren't feeling good because it doesn't feel like it's balanced the way it should. And you've been persevering, you've been kind of sticking with it and making a stand, like getting to that point of saying, you know what? I don't want these imbalances anymore. I want to find peace. I want to be able to live a life that's true to myself. And actually, as I was starting to say that, there's this really great book. It's called The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. And what's her name? I feel like her name is maybe like Marnie or something like that. But she's a palliative care person. So she goes into people's homes and does home care for people who are at the end of their life. She's an Australian woman, but if you just Google Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and in this book, it's kind of like a memoir where she's going through and piecing together all of these things from her years and years of working with people who are literally at the very end of their life. They know there's not much left, and what are they telling her that they wish they had done? And so the top 5 regrets, the number one like first one there is, I wish I'd lived a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So there was that one. I wish I'd let myself be happier. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I didn't work so hard. And now the fifth one is escaping me. I'm sure it'll come to me at some point, but yeah, I mean, how many people sit there on their deathbed saying, gosh, I wish I would have spent more time at work. Oh, I wish I would have done one more research paper. Oh, I wish I would have written one more book. You know, usually people, it's, I wish I would have told this person how much I cared about them. I wish I would have spent more time with my kids. I wish I would have spent more time with my parents before they passed, you know, things like that. So yeah, but it was I wish I'd had and I wish I had the courage to tell people how I feel. That was the fifth one. So that's kind of this whole thing with this message coming through of, I wish I had lived a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. And then here, this one is, you're stronger than you realize. So even though some of this cycle may be with these imbalances that you've been feeling and that you're taking a stand against, you're probably getting tired. You're probably having that sense of, is it done already? So part of this hermit mode and this self-reflection is also that I just need to get away. And so with that, you know, you're stronger than you realize. The new start is coming. Like, take that leap of faith. The new start is coming. Things are going to be turning around for you. All right. And it says, children, your love life is being affected by children. So take that for what it's worth, however that goes into your reading. And just keeping in mind, like I said, this new start is coming for you, and you're stronger than you realize, and give yourself permission to be happy. And remember you really want to focus on that, living a life true to yourself. So, and maybe I'll post, I think I have an image of that to be able to post in the comments, you know, that top 5 regrets of the dying. But it's really interesting and fascinating to read and see what people were telling her as they get to the end. All right, next up we have our earth signs. That's our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, the strength card. This one has been coming out for you an awful lot. So I think there's a situation, you know, these imbalances, and you've been, you know, slugging it out. You've been making a stand, and you know, have the strength to keep at it, and really work on releasing what's no longer serving you. So kind of in the energy of last night's full moon, what is no longer serving you? If these are imbalances that have been there for a long time, if it's no longer serving you, let it go. And that's kind of the whole thing of, I wish I had given myself permission to be happier, as one of those top 5 regrets. And so some of that is it does take a lot of strength to be able to say, you know what, I'm not happy. So I think sometimes there's that sense of, it's weak to admit that this isn't working, or that, you know, whatever, this isn't working. Whether that's a job, whether that's a friendship, whether that's a romantic relationship, whether it's a marriage. Sometimes there's that sense of, it's weak to admit defeat. No, it's not defeat. It's acknowledging the reality of the situation. So, all right. And it's funny. So if you've seen those, you know, the successories posters where it's the motivational ones, where it has a picture and then it's got a word and a little motivational caption. For a while I had, it was like the opposite of those, where it was kind of like snarky things. And so one of them, it was saying something like, if winners never quit and quitters never win, if you're not quitting and you're not winning, what does that make you? Like a loser? Or I don't know, it was something like that. But it's kind of the whole thing of, if you're not happy, but you keep sitting in that situation, no one's winning. So there's no glory in continuing to be in something that's not making you happy. It's not working. There's no signs of changing. So that kind of goes with this strength part of, it takes strength to acknowledge that maybe I need something different. Your card here is, your dreams need a practical plan, full moon in Taurus. So that's one of our earth signs. So if you want something different, if you have this big dream, they do need a practical plan. So when you have a dream, but you don't really have any any details, any plan, any teeth in it, then it's just kind of this, I'll call it, pie in the sky daydream. Once you start to put some structure to it, then it becomes more of like a goal. And you can start to put a little bit of structure around it, whether it's, hey, if this is my dream is to become a painter, to switch out of this career and become a painter. Maybe some of that practical plan is, okay, what are some things I could do to build up a little bit of a cushion so that when I make that transition, it's not as scary? Or are there local galleries that I could start, on a smaller scale? So things like that, like kind of getting some of these practical plans in place, as opposed to saying, you know what, I'm not even going to put in any effort and wait till something comes along and someone says, hey, I want to, hire you to paint something for me. So I think this one's come up for our earth signs as well. This no one cares, quit your whining. And I'd given some context on that when I made these cards. So this is something, if you hadn't seen these before, if you're kind of new to the channel, these are oracle cards. I call them my spray paint oracle cards, where I did the spray painting work on these, and then I wrote the messages on it. You can get like blank cards on Etsy. And this was one that it was after some different reflection, and the whole thing of, you either know that person or maybe you are that person that every time you have a conversation with certain people, it's like people are, oh, woe is me. Oh, life is so terrible. Life is so terrible. And while, yes, you need your support system to be able to talk about things when life feels heavy, I think this was in one of those phases where, and everybody goes through the pity party phases, but it was like that reminder of, no, okay, stop, like kind of fake it till you make it type of thing of, yes, you do need to talk about things when they're wrong, but don't sit there and just always dwell on, oh, this isn't working. This is the sad part. My life is bad. Like, focus on the good things so that your brain gets used to looking for the good things. Like, focus on the small victories. That's something that it would be worth putting at the end of your journal. Or if you do daily journaling, one of the things to put in there is gratitude. So I had a section in mine where I would sit there and list off at least every night 3 things that I was grateful for. And maybe it wasn't a very good day, but maybe it's something like, I'm grateful for the soft sheets on my bed. It was a day that I had the sheets that I love. Something like that. Or I'm grateful for the delicious dinner I had tonight. I'm grateful for the beautiful leaves on the tree. So it doesn't even have to be something huge and monumental, but it retrains your brain to look for the good things, and then your brain more readily sees the good things. All right, so on your romance card for our earth sign, so Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, it says addictions are affecting your romantic life, codependency. And so whether that's your addictions that you're struggling with, and the addictions, usually people think about it as drug use, alcohol use, some people have gambling addictions or whatever. It can also be addictions to certain thought patterns. So if it's going with this, no one cares, quit your whining, some of it is you or your relationship may be affected by somebody has an addiction to being the victim. And it's always, oh, woe is me, my spouse is so this, my spouse is so that, I'm so unhappy. And so some of it is addictions to certain thought patterns that you're telling yourself these things every day. So it's a matter of, how do you break out of that, and how do you bring that into balance? Like, you've been persevering, but how do you bring it into balance? So if it's really imbalanced where either you really do have all of these struggles, or maybe you just think you do, how do you bring that into balance? If it's all in your mind, it's a matter of retraining your mind to see those gratitudes. If it's actually there in reality that there's all of these imbalances, then having that courage to take the next step. So maybe the dream is, if your relationship isn't good, I dream of having a loving, fulfilling relationship. Okay, well, if that's not what you've got, then how do you make a plan to change that situation? And some of it with this dreams and your practical plans, you have this hermit card about being in that reflective type of mode. So that's one of those things, and with the greens going in there together with her tub, and then the greens there, using this hermit mode energy, or like this hermit energy, to really start to put some thoughts and some structure around your dreams. And what do you want your life to look like? If you want to move forward, you have to know what direction you want to go, so that you can make sure that your decisions and your choices are aligning with what your end goal is. All right, next up we have our water signs. So that is going to be our Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Let's see what we've got for you. The Tower. All right, so sometimes this is one of the more feared cards in the tarot, that because this is about those big, massive upheavals. And, if there have been these imbalances and you've kind of been persevering, maybe you've been sitting on the side thinking about, well, what do I do about it? What do I do about it? At some point, like, doing nothing is still making a decision. So at some point, if you don't do anything about it, usually the universe will end up stepping in, and it's like, alrighty, there's that tower. And we talk about this a bunch on the channel, or regularly on the channel, the idea that messages from the universe will keep getting louder and louder and louder until you listen. So something that maybe if you would have been more observant, or if you would have made a harder choice before, maybe you were in a situation where it's like, well, I could do this or I could do this. I'm going to go with the safe choice because the other one seems scary. Usually, if that's a major life lesson you're supposed to learn, you don't get to duck out of it by taking the easy way. It's just at some point in the future, that's going to come back up. All right, let's take a look at our moon card and see what we got. The answers you need are coming. And that is full moon in Gemini. So another full moon card. And these answers are coming in the wake of this tower. So if you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? I can't believe this happened. Your answers are coming. So this is the whole thing. When I'm seeing these messages, they come through, they're connected and they're more powerful when the color palettes are all matching up. And so with this one, this blue here is matching up with the tower. Your answers about, oh my gosh, why is this tower? Why is this happening to me? And depending on the nature of what your tower is, the answers are coming in the wake of this tower. So try to work on grounding as that's happening. So go for walks, take a soak in the bath, sit outside and listen to the birds or the crickets, depending on what time of day it is, and have the faith and the knowing that the answers will be coming. You may not understand it right now, but if you can kind of pull yourself out of your body and look at it and say, hey, this character is going to understand this message in, the next scene. If your life is a play, hey, in the next scene, the answers are coming. Oh, okay, character. Sit here and do what you need to do to take care of yourself, and then your answers are coming. A new door is opening shortly. And again, looking at all of that flowing together. Let's take a look at love and relationships type of feel. This is from our romance deck. Healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents. So however that factors into this reading. And so this specifically says your love life, but if you're not in a position where that feels like it's resonating, sometimes with this romance deck, there's also that sense of what are you passionate about? So it's with any of these, it may not necessarily specifically be love partner type of situation. It could be whatever you're passionate about. But that is the message that's coming through for our water signs. Let's take a look at our air signs. And that is going to be our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Let's see what messages are coming through for you. Strength for you as well. So there are some challenges that you're looking at. You've had these imbalances. You feel like you've been persevering, and it periodically sends you into these spirals of thinking. And make sure that you're not overly thinking, because that can also be a problem. Like, don't be too much in your head, but just have the strength and know that things are moving behind the scenes, even if you're not seeing it. So there's energetic shifts that are happening, but embody that strength, that warrior mentality, and believe in the impossible. So if you're sitting here going, oh my gosh, this is terrible, there's no way out of this, what is happening? Believe in the impossible. There's things that are happening, like I said, energetically behind the scenes that you're not necessarily aware of right now, and have that patience and have that strength to continue to make that stand. So this is, if this is all about like persevering and making a stand, let those two flow together and have that strength to do it, and trust that things are going to be unfolding favorably. So this part, you're misreading the situation. If you're getting all up in your head, and like I said, that strength to persevere and let it play out, believe in the impossible, because there's a good chance you're misreading, if you're worried right now about, oh my gosh, this or that, there's a good chance you're misreading it. So, all right, let's take a look at the romance card and see what comes up there for you. This was a jumper card. Religious factors. Your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. That is interesting. I have not seen this card come out in this deck ever. And I've used this deck over 100 times. So that's interesting that one, and that was a jumper card. So taking it for what it's worth, and I'll pull one too since that was a jumper card. Keep an open mind. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. So if your love life is being influenced by your religious path, and it's saying keep an open mind, it could be one of those things that you were brought up to think, oh, this is what my person should look like, and that's not actually what they're looking like. So, keep an open mind and really look for that soul connection. Look for that. And, it may take some strength there, because if this person is somebody that doesn't necessarily fit with whatever your upbringing was, there may be some tough conversations to have with family, but make sure that you keep sitting in that strength. Believe in the impossible. Just because you may not have been brought up that way doesn't mean that, oh, okay, well, no. So believe in the impossible and hold tight to that strength and have that perseverance, make that stand, and keep an open mind. So I hope you found today's reading to be helpful. If this is information you think somebody else could benefit from, I would welcome you to share it with them. And there's a number, as I mentioned, there's a number of other readings coming out later this week. So make sure you hit the subscribe and notification so that you're alerted as to when those post. And as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. And so until next time, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Bye-bye.